The stranger removed her helmet, revealing features that were almost human but not quite. Her skin had a faint blue undertone, her eyes were slightly larger than normal, and her ears tapered to subtle points. She looked like a human with alien ancestry. "You're from Earth," the woman said with obvious surprise. "How is that possible? No human ships have entered this sector in years." Kara removed her own helmet relief, washing over her at breathing unfiltered air again. "I'm Kara Williams, communications officer. My diplomatic vessel was attacked. I escaped in a Zentari scout ship." The woman studied her with intense curiosity. "I'm Elaine North, last survivor of the research vessel Horizon. We were attacked 5 years ago. I've been stranded here ever since." Kara's eyes widened. "The Horizon. Your ship was declared lost with all hands. Earth sent search parties but found nothing." Elaine's expression darkened. "The Krell are thorough. They disabled our ship, then picked off the escape pods one by one. I only survived because my pod crashed here. The mining outpost was abandoned but had functional life support. I've been alone until the Voran miners returned last year." Voran, Kara repeated the unfamiliar name, silicon-based lifeforms. "They mine rare elements here. They've let me stay. They're peaceful but very private. You probably won't see them. They remain in the lower levels." A distant alarm sounded. Elaine's face filled with concern. She moved to a monitoring station, checking sensor readings. "Krell ships have entered orbit. They're scanning the surface. They followed me." Kara said, guilt washing over her. "I've put you in danger." Elaine's mouth set in a grim line. "They would have found me eventually. This outpost has some defenses but nothing that will stop a determined Krell attack. We need to contact help. My scout ship's communication array was damaged in the landing." Kara explained. "I tried to send a warning message before I arrived, but I don't know if anyone received it. The outpost has a long-range transmitter, but it's low power." Elaine led Kara through narrow corridors deeper into the facility. The Voran use it to contact their supply ships. The interior of the outpost was utilitarian with minimal decoration. Strange crystalline formations grew along some walls, casting rainbow reflections in the dim light. Equipment designed for non-human users filled workstations. The air had a faint mineral smell like wet stones. "Why are the Krell hunting humans so aggressively?" Elaine asked as they walked. "They were hostile in my time, but not this determined." Kara explained what she had learned about human pheromones triggering Krell genetic memory and the shocking alliance with the Morax. Elaine listened intently, her expression growing more troubled. "That explains why they've devoted so many resources to finding isolated humans like me," she said. "But there's something else you should know." She stopped walking and turned to face Kara directly. "I've been monitoring Krell communications. They're building something massive. A weapon, I think, designed specifically to target human worlds. A species-specific weapon." Kara felt cold fear settle in her stomach. "That's prohibited by every galactic treaty. The Krell don't care about treaties." Elaine continued walking, leading them to a communication center. "And if the Morax are helping them, they have access to Council defense codes. Earth wouldn't stand a chance." The communication room was small, with equipment that appeared cobbled together from different technological sources. Elaine activated the system, her fingers flying over controls with practiced ease. "I'm setting this to broadcast on all frequencies, including old Earth emergency channels," she explained. "But the signal won't be strong enough to reach very far. If we boost it using my scout ship's power cells," Kara suggested. "Could that help?" Elaine considered this. Possibly, the Zentari use quantum entanglement in their communication systems that could amplify our signal significantly, but we'd need to retrieve the cells from your ship. The building shook slightly, dust falling from the ceiling. "They're landing," Elaine said, checking a monitor. 3 ships about 2 kilometers from here. They'll send ground forces. "Do the Voran have weapons?" Kara asked. "Nothing designed for combat. They're miners, not warriors." Elaine moved to a storage locker, removing what looked like tools. "These sonic drills can be modified. They won't kill Krell, but might slow them down." A new voice spoke from a doorway. We will help defend our home. Kara turned to see a strange figure standing there, roughly humanoid but clearly alien. Its body appeared to be made of living crystal with internal lights pulsing. In patterns, the Voran had no visible mouth, the voice seeming to emanate from vibrations in its crystalline structure. Tekla, Elaine said with obvious relief. I didn't think your people would get involved. The Krell have violated our neutrality by attacking this moon. The crystal being replied, we have activated our defensive measures, but they will not hold for long. Your plan to amplify the communication signal is sound. We will help retrieve the necessary components from the damaged ship. More crystal beings entered the room, their bodies glowing with different colored internal lights. They communicated with each other through light patterns too rapid for Kara to follow. The Voran can withstand the external atmosphere without protection, Elaine explained to Kara. They'll move faster than we can. One of the Voran approached Kara, its crystalline hand extended holding what appeared to be a small shard of living crystal. Take this. It will help us locate you if we become separated. Kara accepted the crystal, surprised by its warmth. It pulsed with gentle light, seemingly in rhythm with her heartbeat. The building shook again, more violently. They're using sonic weapons to break through the outer defenses, Tekla announced. We must move quickly. They formulated a plan. The Voran would create a diversion, drawing the Krell away from Kara's scout ship, while she and Elaine retrieved the power cells. Tekla provided a map showing tunnel access points that would allow them to approach the ship undetected. These tunnels were created for mining. They extend throughout the moon's crust, Elaine explained as they prepared to enter the tunnel system. The Krell won't expect us to come from below. Kara checked the makeshift weapon Elaine had given her. How many Krell are we likely to face? Standard ground force is 20 warriors with at least one commander. Elaine replied grimly. I've been studying them for 5 years. They're formidable, but not invincible. Their exoskeletons are weakest at the joints, especially between thorax and abdomen. The tunnel entrance was narrow, barely wide enough for a human to pass through. The walls glittered with mineral deposits, casting eerie shadows from their helmet lights. The low gravity made movement easier, but the uneven floor required careful navigation. They moved in silence, following the map displayed on Elaine's wrist device. The tunnels branched and intersected in complex patterns clearly expanded over years of mining operations. Occasionally they passed large chambers where crystal formations grew in breathtaking arrangements. The Voran cultivate these crystal gardens, Elaine whispered. They're somehow connected to their collective consciousness. The crystals store information memories. After 20 minutes of careful progress, Elaine stopped at a vertical shaft. This leads to the surface. We should be about 50 meters from your ship. They climbed upward, using handholds carved into the rock. Face at the top, a simple mechanism opened a hidden hatch. The surface of the moon spread before them. Kara's damaged scout ship visible nearby. 2 Krell warriors stood guard beside it, their black exoskeletons gleaming in the starlight. The diversion should start any moment, Elaine whispered, checking a small device. The Voran will trigger a seismic event on the far side of the outpost. As if on cue, a flash of light erupted from the direction of the main Krell landing ships. The ground trembled. Beneath them, the Krell guards turned toward the disturbance, chittering to each other. Their communication devices activated with urgent signals. One guard remained, while the other rushed toward the commotion. One is manageable, Elaine said. Ready, Kara nodded, gripping her modified mining tool. The 2 women moved silently across the lunar surface, using the low gravity to make long, controlled leaps. The remaining Krell guard was focused on the distant disturbance, its back to them. Elaine signaled Kara to circle around. She would create another distraction. The plan worked perfectly. When Elaine deliberately triggered a small rock slide, the guard moved to investigate. Kara approached from behind, activating the sonic tool at its highest setting. The Krell warrior convulsed as the sonic waves disrupted its nervous system. It collapsed, making clicking sounds of distress. Elaine was there, immediately securing the creature with restraints. It won't hold it for long, she warned. Let's get those Power cells. Kara accessed the scout ship through the emergency hatch. Crawling into the damaged vessel, Elaine followed, keeping watch for returning Krell. The interior was dark, with only emergency lighting still functional. Critical systems had shut down during the rough landing. The power cell should be behind that panel, Kara said, pointing to a section of the wall marked with Zentari symbols. She had studied enough of their technology during the brief journey to identify basic components. Working quickly, they removed the panel, revealing 6 glowing blue cylinders. Each was about the size of a human forearm, pulsing with energy. Kara carefully disconnected the first one. These contain quantum-entangled particles, she explained. That's how they achieve faster-than-light communication. The entanglement connects to the Zentari communication network. Perfect, Elaine said. Even if our signal is intercepted, the quantum link should reach their network. We just need one more thing. She moved to the navigation console, prying open a compartment beneath it. The encryption codes. Without them, the Zentari might ignore the message. A distant explosion rocked the ground. The diversion was escalating. Kara worked faster, disconnecting 3 power cells. While Elaine extracted a small data crystal from the navigation system, that should be enough, Kara said, securing the cells in a carrying case from the emergency supplies. Let's go. They exited the ship to find the restrained Krell warrior beginning to recover its movements, becoming more coordinated. Without hesitation, Elaine activated her sonic device again, sending the creature back into convulsions. The tunnel entrance is our safest route back, she said, leading the way. The main battle seems to be moving toward the south. They had covered half the distance to the hidden hatch when a high-pitched whine filled the air. A Krell scout ship appeared over the horizon, moving rapidly in their direction. Run, Elaine shouted. They sprinted across the lunar surface, the low gravity allowing longer strides but making balance difficult. The case with the power cells bounced against Kara's side, threatening to throw her off balance. The Krell ship fired energy weapons, blasting craters into the ground around them. The tunnel entrance was just ahead. A near miss sent rocks and dust flying into the air, temporarily blinding them. Kara stumbled but kept moving, guided by Elaine's hand on her arm. They reached the hatch, diving through as energy beams struck where they had been moments before. They'll send ground forces to follow us, Elaine said as they descended rapidly into the tunnel network. We need to take an alternate route. She adjusted their path, leading them through narrower passages that twisted and descended deeper into the moon. The sounds of pursuit echoed behind them, Krell warriors communicating with clicks and hisses as they entered the tunnels. The crystal shard the Vorin had given Kara began pulsing more rapidly, glowing brighter. I think it's trying to tell us something, she said, showing Elaine. It's directing us, Elaine confirmed. The Vorin must be nearby. They followed the crystal's guidance, taking turns that seemed counterintuitive, but soon the pursuing sounds grew fainter. The passage opened into a large cavern filled with magnificent crystal formations. The crystals hummed with energy, creating a symphony of tones that vibrated through Kara's body. Several Vorin waited there, their crystalline bodies glowing with internal light. Tekla stepped forward. We have created a secure path to the communication center. The Krell have breached the upper levels of the outpost, but our defenses hold for now. The Vorin led them through the crystal garden. The formations seemed to move, subtly changing configuration. To allow passage, Kara realized the entire cavern was somehow alive, responsive to the Vorin's needs. They emerged from a hidden door directly into the communication center. Scorch marks on the walls showed where fighting had occurred, but the equipment remained intact. We must work quickly, Tekla said. Our barriers will not contain the Krell much longer. Kara and Elaine immediately began connecting the Zentari power cells to the communication array. The technology was not designed to work together, requiring creative adaptations. Elaine's years of survival had made her an expert at improvising with limited resources. The quantum entanglement should amplify our signal exponentially, Kara explained. As she worked and bypassed normal space limitations, we can reach Earth directly. Not just Earth, Elaine said, connecting the data crystal to the system. We're going to broadcast to the entire Galactic Council with the Zentari encryption codes. They can't ignore it. Everyone will see the evidence of what the Krell and Morax are doing. The building shook violently, dust and small debris falling from the ceiling. Tekla's crystalline body flashed with urgent patterns. The main defenses have fallen. The Krell approached this location. Almost ready, Kara said, making final adjustments. We just need to compile the message and evidence. Elaine worked at another console. I'm adding my 5 years of research on Krell movements, including coordinates of their weapons development facilities. The data from your scout ship proves the Morax connection. This should be enough to force council action. The door to the communication center shuddered under heavy impact. The Krell were attempting to break. Through Tekla and the other Vorin positioned themselves protectively, their crystalline bodies hardening into more angular defensive forms. Transmission ready, Kara announced, sending now. She activated the system. The Zentari power cells glowed, brilliantly energy coursing through improvised connections. The quantum particles responded, creating a communication channel that transcended normal space. The entire array hummed with power. As the message began broadcasting, the door exploded inward. Krell warriors poured through, weapons ready. Tekla and the Vorin met them, creating a living barrier, their crystalline bodies absorbing energy blasts. The defense bought precious seconds as the transmission continued. Signal at 60%. Elaine called out, keep going. Kara adjusted frequencies, compensating for interference. A Krell energy weapon fired past her head, striking the wall behind. She didn't flinch, continuing her work. The message had to get through. The Vorin fought with surprising effectiveness, their crystalline bodies resistant to Krell weapons. They moved with fluid grace despite their mineral composition, shifting and reforming to adapt to the attack, but they were outnumbered. The Krell pressed forward step by step. 80%, Elaine reported, almost there. A massive Krell commander entered the room, larger than the warriors, its exoskeleton decorated with symbols of rank. It spotted Kara working at the console and charged directly toward her. Tekla intercepted. The commander, their bodies colliding with a sound like shattering glass. The Vorin's crystalline form cracked but held together. The two grappled, locked in combat. Transmission complete, Kara announced. The message is sent. The console displayed confirmation. The quantum entangled particles had successfully connected with the Zentari network. The evidence was now spreading throughout galactic channels. The Krell and Morax conspiracy exposed. The Krell commander broke free from Tekla's grip. Its mandibles clicked in rage as it realized what had happened. It raised its weapon, aiming at the communication array. Before it could fire, the entire room shook violently. This tremor was different from the previous attacks. Stronger, more focused. The crystal formations throughout the outpost began resonating, creating a harmonic frequency that made the air vibrate. The Krell warriors staggered, clearly affected by the vibrations. Their exoskeletons resonated at a painful frequency. The commander fought against the effect, still trying to target the humans. The Vorin collective is responding, Tekla explained, her voice strained. We are calling the crystals to defend. The crystal formations throughout the outpost grew, rapidly extending and connecting like a living network. They emerged from walls and floors surrounding the Krell forces. The vibration intensified, focused now specifically on Krell biology. The Krell commander dropped its weapon, clutching at its head. Carapace. The warriors began retreating, unable to withstand the harmonic assault. The crystals herded them back, pushing them toward the exit A's. Suddenly, as it began, the battle was over. The Krell forces had withdrawn, driven out by the crystal defense. The remaining Vorin regrouped, some showing damage to their forms, but all still functioning. Your message is spreading through the galactic networks, Tekla informed them, her crystalline body slowly repairing its cracks. The Zentari fleet has acknowledged receipt. They are dispatching ships to this location. Kara and Elaine shared a look of relief and accomplishment. The evidence was out. Nothing the Krell or Morax could do would stop it now. What will happen next? Kara asked. The Council cannot ignore such evidence. Tekla responded. The Morax will face sanctions. Their alliance with the Krell violates fundamental treaties. Earth will receive protection. Elaine touched Kara's shoulder. After 5 years alone, I had almost given up hope that anyone would find me. Now we've done something that might save our entire species. The Zentari ships will arrive within 2 planetary rotations. Tekla continued. Until then, we must remain vigilant. The Krell may attempt one final assault. We'll be ready, Kara said, with new confidence. In the communication room of a small mining outpost on an insignificant moon, these unlikely allies had changed the course of galactic politics. A human communications officer, a stranded researcher, and a colony of crystalline beings had exposed a conspiracy and potentially saved Earth. The scout ship detached from the Zentari vessel with a gentle shudder. Kara gripped the unfamiliar controls, fighting to keep her hands steady. Through the viewport, she watched as the Krell ships surrounded the damaged Zentari cruiser, their tractor, beams pulling it into a holding pattern. I need to master these controls fast, she muttered, studying the alien interface. The basics were similar enough to Earth designs, thrust navigation and weapon systems, but the configuration was entirely different. Proximity alarm blared as one of the smaller Krell interceptors broke from the main group and turned toward her position. They had spotted the launch. Kara activated the engines, pushing them to full power. The scout ship responded instantly, shooting away from the battle scene. She had only moments before they would pursue. Her fingers flew across the control panel, activating the stealth systems Helix had mentioned. The ship shimmered as adaptive camouflage engaged, masking its energy signature and reflecting surrounding space patterns. It wouldn't make her invisible, but it might confuse their tracking systems long enough to escape. The nebula gases swirled around the ship, providing additional cover. Kara piloted deeper into the colorful clouds, using the densest areas to break line of sight with the Krell vessel. The radiation that made the nebula dangerous also interfered with sensors, giving her a slim advantage. Come on, she whispered, pushing the engines harder. The small ship vibrated under the strain but held together. The Zentari built solid vessels. The Krell interceptor followed, firing blindly into the nebula. Energy weapons cut through the gases, creating brief tunnels of clear space. Kara executed a series of evasive maneuvers, diving and spinning through the cosmic cloud. Each near miss sent her heart racing. A glance at the navigation system showed a small planet system at the edge of the nebula. If she could reach it, perhaps she could lose her pursuer in the planetary rings or magnetic field. The scout ship burst from the nebula's edge into clear space stars shining brightly against the black. The Krell interceptor emerged seconds later. Still in pursuit, Kara directed all available power to the engines, sacrificing weapons and some life support functions for speed. The small planetary system grew larger in her viewport. A gas giant with impressive rings orbited a distant star. Several moons circled the massive planet, offering potential hiding places. Kara aimed for the ring's dense bands of ice and rock particles that would mask her ship's signature. She skimmed just above the ring plane, then dove into the thickest section. The scout ship shuddered as tiny impacts rattled against the hull shields. Krell followed more cautiously, their larger vessel less maneuverable in the debris field. Kara used this advantage, weaving through larger chunks of ice, avoiding collisions by mere meters. Her years of simulator training were paying off, though her hands ached from gripping the controls so tightly. A massive ice fragment loomed ahead. Kara swerved hard, barely avoiding impact. The Krell ship wasn't as fortunate. The interceptor clipped the ice chunk, spinning out of control. A secondary collision with a larger asteroid damaged one of its engine pods. Kara allowed herself a moment of satisfaction, but knew the victory was temporary. The main Krell force would send more ships once they finished with the Zentari vessel. She needed a plan. Checking the scout ship systems, she found what she hoped for: a long-range communication array. It wouldn't reach Earth directly, but could potentially contact other human ships or friendly species in nearby sectors. She began recording a message. This is Communications Officer Kara Williams of Earth. The diplomatic mission to the Galactic Council has failed. The Krell are targeting human settlements with help from the Morax. Repeat. The Morax are secretly aiding the Krell in attacks against human colonies. She included data files from the Zentari ship showing the connection between the two species and the biological research about why Krell feared humans. She set the message to broadcast on all emergency frequencies, hoping someone friendly would pick it up. The scanner pinged, showing 3 more Krell ships entering the system. Her brief respite was over. Kara studied the planetary system map, looking for options. One of the moons showed unusual energy readings, possibly indicating mining operations or a small outpost. If people were there, they might help, or at least she could warn them about the Krell. She plotted a course that would use the gas giant's massive gravity to slingshot the scout ship toward the moon. The maneuver would be risky, requiring precise timing and calculations, but would give her a significant speed boost. As she approached the gas giant, its swirling storms visible through the viewport, Kara activated the gravitational calculator. The ship's computer processed the complex math needed for the slingshot effect, displaying an optimal trajectory path in glowing blue lines. The Krell ships adjusted course, attempting to cut her off before she could execute the maneuver. Kara pushed the engines beyond recommended limits. The scout ship protested, warning lights flashing across the control panel. Just hold together a little longer. She pleaded with the vessel as if it could hear her. The gas giant's gravity began to pull at the ship. The sensation was disorienting, making Kara's stomach lurch. She fought to maintain the precise course, the blue line on her display guiding her movements. Any deviation could send her crashing into the planet or off into empty space. The ship accelerated dramatically as it whipped around the curve of the massive planet. G-forces pressed Kara hard into her seat. Despite the inertial dampeners, stars blurred outside the viewport. The scout ship shot away from the planet at tremendous speed, leaving the pursuing Krell vessels temporarily. Behind the small moon grew rapidly in the viewport, its cratered surface reflecting the distant star's light. Kara's scanners confirmed the energy signature. A small mining operation or research station occupied the moon's northern hemisphere. She directed the ship toward it, hoping to find allies or at least a place to hide and repair the increasingly damaged vessel. The landing was rough. The scout ship's systems strained beyond their limits. Kara managed to set down in a relatively flat area near the outpost. The engines shut down, some permanently damaged from the stress she had put them through. She checked the external atmosphere, not breathable but not immediately toxic either. With a proper mask, she could survive outside for a limited time. Kara donned the emergency gear from the ship's storage compartment and prepared to exit through the viewport. She could see the outpost about half a kilometer away. Strange angular buildings with few windows, connected domes suggested a self-contained environment. There were no obvious defenses, which worried her. The Krell would not be far behind. As she opened the airlock and stepped onto the moon's surface, Kara felt the low gravity immediately. Her movements became bouncy, almost comical despite the dire situation. She began walking toward the outpost, watching the sky nervously for signs of pursuit. The horizon was much closer on this small moon, the curvature of the land visible even at short distances. Kara checked her oxygen, levels sufficient for now but not indefinite. She quickened her pace. Halfway to the outpost, movement caught her eye. A figure in an environmental suit was approaching cautiously. Not Zentari or Krell, but humanoid. The suit design was unfamiliar. Kara raised her hands in the universal gesture of peace, hoping the universal translator in her suit would function with whatever communication system the stranger used. "I need help," she said. "Krell ships are pursuing me." The figure stopped, then gestured. For her to follow quickly, Kara needed no further encouragement. They moved rapidly toward the outpost, the stranger accessing an airlock that cycled open once inside and through decontamination. The figure removed their helmet, revealing a face that made Kara gasp in surprise. The tall silver doors slid open with a soft hiss as Kara Williams straightened her uniform and took a deep breath. The massive alien council chamber stretched before her, with 20 different species seated in a semicircle, their eyes all focused on her, the only human in the room. Kara stepped forward, trying to appear confident despite feeling like her heart might burst from her chest. She was not supposed to be here. This diplomatic mission belonged to more experienced negotiators. But a bay Surprise attack had left her as the only surviving crew member of the Earthship Pioneer. The head counselor, a tall blue-skinned alien with 4 arms and silvery eyes, spoke in a melodic voice that the translator converted to English, human female. You claim to represent Earth, but our records show you are merely a communications officer. That is correct, Counselor Vex, Kara replied, keeping her voice steady. I am not a diplomat, but circumstances have forced me into this role. I ask the Council to hear Earth's proposal regardless. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some aliens clicked or hummed their disapproval while others leaned forward with interest. Kara noticed the Zentari representatives with their shimmering scales watching her, with particular intensity. The attack on your ship was unfortunate, Counselor Vex continued. However, the Galactic Council cannot enter agreements with unauthorized representatives. It would violate our most basic protocols. Kara felt a flash of frustration, but pushed it down. Humans were new to interstellar politics, having only achieved faster-than-light travel 15 years ago. The Council saw them as primitive despite their rapid technological advancement. With respect, Counselor, our situation is desperate, Kara said, stepping closer. The Krell hives have attacked 3 Earth colonies in the past month. Thousands have died. They target us because we lack the protection of the Council. We need your help. A large insectoid creature clicked loudly from the far end of the chamber. The translation came through as, the Krell are merely defending their territory. Humans expanded too quickly without proper authorization. Your species must learn its place. Kara recognized the speaker as Ambassador Tseet of the Morax Confederation, old rivals of humanity. She had studied enough alien politics to know she was being baited. The colonies were established in unclaimed systems. Ambassador Kara responded calmly. The Krell attacks came. Without warning or provocation, they seek not to defend but to eliminate. The Zentari delegation whispered among themselves, their scales shifting from blue to a concerned purple. One female Zentari with elaborate gold markings around her eyes stood up. Her translator activated. I am Helix, chief diplomat of the Zentari Collective. We have observed these Krell attacks. They do not follow typical resource competition patterns. They appear to be systematic extinction efforts. Kara nodded gratefully toward the Zentari. Thank you, Diplomat Helix. Our scientists believe the Krell perceive something in human biology as threatening, though we have done nothing to provoke them. Counselor Vex raised 2 of his 4 hands, silencing the chamber. This is troubling if true. However, we require more than the word of a communications officer and 1 allied species. Do you have evidence to present? This was the moment Kara had prepared for. She removed a small data crystal from her pocket. This contains sensor logs from our defensive platforms, scans of Krell attack patterns, and biological analyses suggesting why they target humans specifically. Our scientists believe humans emit specific pheromones that trigger Krell hunting instincts. A tall, willowy alien with translucent skin approached Kara, taking the crystal with long, delicate fingers. The Illidar were known for their technological expertise and neutrality in council matters. The alien inserted the crystal into a central console, and holographic display sprang to life around the chamber. The council members watched in silence as footage showed Krell ships ruthlessly targeting human settlements, ignoring other valuable resources. The data was damning. Krell attack ships specifically followed human biosignatures even when more strategic targets were available. This is disturbing, Counselor Vex admitted. But what exactly do you ask of us, human? Kara stood straight, looking each council member in the eyes, or eye equivalents. Earth. Request defensive technology, sharing emergency evacuation assistance for our most vulnerable colonies, and council mediation with the Krell Empire. In return, we offer our unique scientific insights, mineral rights to our outer system asteroids, and a permanent human delegation to strengthen galactic cooperation. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some species clearly supported the proposal while others remained skeptical. The Morax delegation chittered angrily, clearly opposed. Diplomat Helix of the Zentari approached Kara while the council debated. Her scales shifted to a friendly green. You speak well for someone untrained in diplomacy. Necessity teaches quickly, Kara replied with a small smile. Indeed, Helix said, studying Kara with intelligent eyes. There is something about humans that interests my people. Your adaptability, perhaps. Your species achieves in decades what takes others centuries. Before Kara could respond, alarms blared throughout the chamber. The massive view screen, activated, showing several Krell battleships dropping out of faster-than-light travel near the station. They followed me, Kara whispered in horror. They must have tracked the Pioneer's escape pod. Counselor Vex rushed to the command console. Defensive. Shields activated. All delegations return to your ships. Diplomat Helix grabbed Kara's arm. Come with us, human. Your ship is destroyed and the Krell will hunt you specifically. As the council chamber dissolved into chaos, Kara made a split-second decision. She had to survive, not just for herself but for Earth. The Zentari had offered help when others hesitated. Lead the way, she told Helix as they raced toward the Zentari ship. Kara wondered what she had gotten herself into. The diplomatic mission had failed, but perhaps this new alliance with the Zentari offered another path. She just had to stay alive long enough to find it. The station shuddered as the first Krell weapons impacted the outer shields. Time was running out. The Zentari ship pulled away from the space station as explosions bloomed against the defensive shields. Kara gripped the edge of a smooth metallic seat, watching through a viewing portal as the massive council station grew smaller behind them. The Krell should not have been able to track your escape pod. Diplomat Helix said, her scales shifting to a suspicious orange. Their sensors are not that advanced, Kara frowned, unless they had help. The thought had been growing in her mind since the attack. The Krell seemed to know exactly where Earth ships would be. The ship's captain, a male Zentari with battle-scarred scales, barked orders in their native language. The elegant vessel accelerated rapidly, stars blurring as they prepared to jump. To faster-than-light travel, I am taking you to our homeworld, Helix informed Kara. You will be safer there while we determine why the Krell hunt humans so aggressively. I appreciate your help, Kara replied, but I need to contact Earth. They must be warned about the failed negotiations and the Krell tracking capabilities. Helix's scales rippled with concern. Communications may not be safe. If someone is helping the Krell, they could intercept any message. A violent impact rocked the ship, throwing Kara from her seat. She crashed to the floor as warning lights flashed throughout the cabin. Krell interceptors, the captain announced. They followed us through the jump point. That should be impossible. 3 sleek black ships had appeared, behind them their organic-looking hulls bristling with weapons. The Zentari vessel shuddered as energy beams sliced through space around them. They want you, human, Helix said, helping Kara to her feet. This is not normal behavior even for Krell. The captain shouted more orders and the ship dived toward a nearby nebula. Brilliant gases in purple and blue swirled outside the viewing ports. The Zentari ship's engines strained as they pushed deeper into the cosmic cloud. The nebula will mask our energy signature, Helix explained, but we cannot stay here long. The radiation will damage our systems eventually. Kara nodded, processing the information she needed to understand why the Krell were so determined to eliminate humans. Is there somewhere I can access your database? I want to research Krell biology. Helix led her to a small chamber with curved walls and a console that responded to touch. The alien interface was challenging, but the translation program helped Kara navigate through files of information. There. Kara pointed to an old research paper. Krell evolved from hive predators. They hunt based on chemical signatures. And look at this research on human pheromones. Helix leaned closer, her scales shifting to an interested blue. Your species produces unique compounds in your sweat and breath. Some alien species find them pleasant, others neutral. But this suggests the Krell interpret human pheromones as a rival apex predator. Kara finished, a threat to their biological dominance. A new alarm sounded throughout the ship. The captain's voice came over the communication system. Krell vessels have entered the nebula. They are using some new technology to track us. Helix pulled Kara away from the console, We must reach the escape pods. No, Kara said firmly. If I leave, they'll stop chasing your ship. They want me. That is precisely why you must escape, Helix insisted. Something about humans terrifies them. They would not commit such resources to hunting a single communications officer unless your species represents a significant threat to them. They rushed through corridors as the ship rocked with weapons impacts. Centauri crew members worked frantically to maintain systems and return fire. The captain met them at a junction, his scales dark with stress. The main engines are damaged. We cannot outrun them, he reported. But we have discovered something unusual. The Krell ships are receiving coded transmissions from somewhere else. They are being directed. Kara felt cold realization wash over her. Someone at the council is helping them. Someone who doesn't want Earth to join the galactic community. A massive explosion tore through the ship's hull. Atmospheric barriers activated, but the damage was severe. Several crew members lay injured as emergency systems struggled to compensate. Get to the secondary command center. The captain ordered Helix. Take the human, I will hold them here. Helix nodded grimly, leading Kara through narrower passages deeper into the ship. They passed the engine room where engineers worked desperately to restore power. Blue energy pulsed through transparent conduits. Your captain is very brave, Kara said as they ran. Centauri protect those under our care. Helix replied, It is our highest duty. They reached the secondary command center, a smaller version of the main bridge. A few officers maintained essential systems. Their scales showed patterns of stress and determination. We are receiving a transmission. One officer announced, from the Krell. A screen activated showing a Krell commander. Her black exoskeleton gleamed under harsh lights. Multiple compound eyes focused on the camera. Her mandibles clicked as she spoke. The translator, converting her words, surrender. The human female and your ship will be spared. Resist and you will be destroyed. Helix stepped forward. Under what authority do you attack a diplomatic vessel of the Centauri Collective? This violates multiple galactic treaties. The Krell commander's mandibles twitched. The human species represents a biological threat to Krell dominance. They must be eliminated before they spread further. Kara moved into view of the transmission. Why do you fear us? We have never attacked your worlds. The Krell seemed surprised to see Kara address her directly. Your kind produces death scent, the marker of the great predator from our ancestral world. You are the enemy written in our genetic memory. Suddenly, the transmission flickered, and another figure appeared behind the Krell, a shadowy form that Kara recognized with shock. A Morax ambassador Zeet from the Council. The transmission is being relayed through a Morax communication array, the Centauri officer announced. They are working together. The revelation hit Kara like a physical blow. The Morax had opposed Earth from the beginning, but actively helping the Krell exterminate humans. That was beyond politics, that was genocide. Before anyone could speak further, the ship lurched violently. Sparks showered from damaged systems. They have locked tractor beams on us, the officer reported. They are pulling us in. Helix turned to Kara, her scales now a determined red. We have one chance. You must take the scout ship. It has stealth capabilities. I can't leave you all to die. Kara protested. You must warn your people and the council about the Morax betrayal. Helix said firmly, This is bigger than one ship. As alarms blared around them, Kara made her decision. The fate of Earth might depend on what she had discovered. The connection between the Krell and Morax changed everything. I'll come back with help, she promised, following Helix toward the launch bay. I swear it. The small scout ship waited sleek and fast, their only hope of escape.